called camel leopards, due to their leopard spots and their unusual ability to go without water. The huge legs, long neck, and sloping back make the giraffe appear clumsy. But notice how the head remains level, while the neck takes up the bumps like a shock absorber. They could run clear across the picture with a glass of water between their horns and not spill a drop. Once underway, these great runners are hard to stop, and they have often hung themselves on the telegraph wires of the new railroad, which has been started from the Indian Ocean coast. The little youngsters keep up with the old folks, even leading at times. Here is a sure enough neck-and-neck race, with the little fellow trying to hitch on behind. If he only had sense, he'd grab that tail. Flamingos by the million. Each bird stands nearly 4 feet high and weighs about 30 pounds, but the flesh is odorous and unfit to eat. It looks like the parade of the wooden soldiers. They appear to be floating, but in reality they are... It is an amazing sight to watch a flock numbering hundreds of thousands suddenly lift themselves into the air, so thick that they hide the sun. Thick is the reality of an artist's dream. A golden sun fades to a lovely pink in natural harmony with the color of the flamingo, that wing their way in vivid circles, but always within sight of the lake, which is their home in life and their grave in death. Watch the fish trying to gain the upper water so they can spawn in the place where they were born. Oh, how would you like to have that baby on your hook? 50 miles below the falls, the Nile spreads out into a flat, virgin wooded valley. Unusual trees such as this dot the shores, and in the interior a short distance are almost impassable papyrus swamps. It is here that the famous tsetse fly, which causes sleeping sickness, breeds, and the far-famed white rhinoceros makes his home. Here he is, the square-lipped or so-called white rhino. He is much larger than the common black variety, and less than 200 are known to exist.
Gosh, that's a big one. What do you think he weighs? Oh, about 3 tons. Gee, all bulk and no brains.
Charming fellow. He'd like to make friends with you, in his own way. Thick-skinned and bad-tempered, this most weird survivor of prehistoric animals is rapidly becoming extinct. The horns are not bone, but consist of thickly compressed hair, which is valued at 3 times the price of ivory because it is shipped to China, where it is considered the greatest of all medicine cure-all. I-M-P-A-L-L-A, Impala, the most graceful of all the antelope family. They always travel in herds of 100 or more through a park-like country.
I'll make him show some action. Be careful, don't hit him. I won't.
When frightened, they jump, much like a kangaroo, but infinitely more graceful. The natives call this the dance of the impala, but we call it the dance of the leaping lynx. Look at that baby jump. If you notice, folks, the one without a hat is a distant relative to the Mexican jumping bean. No authority seems to know why the impalas jump. It's just another of those unexplainable mysteries of African animal life. When they stop, no amount of outside interference can start them again. Sometimes they jump backwards to keep the dust out of their eyes. They almost seem to have wings as they literally glide through space. Their lithe bodies sail through the air for as much as 40 feet in a single jump, and 12 to 15 feet high, but sometimes higher in the spring. They jump higher on their mother's side than they do on their father's side. Here's a great job for a cowboy, breaking in one of these things. It's probably something they ate last night. There goes 3 of them up together. Lions eat very few impalas because the impalas keep him on the jump, and the lion goes crazy trying to catch up. Like a buffalo, they act like a cow and make a noise like a lion, all of which means that something went wrong somewhere. With their shaggy manes and heavy forequarters, they remind one of the American buffalo, but only at a distance, for they are much smaller. They always roam through fairly open country in great herds, and when the sun is in back of them, their white beards make them visible for miles. Though they have a placid cow-like expression, they will charge without notice, and fight together have been known to kill a lion. Dozens of them huddle under one small tree to escape the terrific heat, for shade is scarce. Though there are many hardships connected with an expedition of this kind, the charm of Africa lies in the ever-changing things of interest. You never know what to expect just around the corner.
Paul! What is it? Look at those big grasshoppers. Grasshoppers nothing. Those are Abyssinian locusts. The whole veldt will soon be black with them. We'll have to cover everything up. Come on! Go and get that camera, quick! Charlie, you'll have to cover that truck with the cameras and tie it down tight. All right. Yango! Come on, Yango! Hurry up! Get a hold of that crap, quick! Come on, pull it right down. Come on with that camera. I'll help them on the truck. Get over there, get this rope. Go on around there, Mickey. Hurry up! You got it?
Tomorrow I will bring locusts unto thy coast, and they shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field. This tremendous swarm is just such a visitation of locusts as Moses called down to punish the wicked Pharaoh of Egypt 3,500 years ago.
They'll be on us in a minute. Let's photograph them from the inside.
The windows of the tent were especially constructed of flexible isinglass, through which photography is possible. Swarms such as this have been known to be 50 miles in width and 100 miles long, and often they'll fly several hundred miles in a day. They strike terror into the hearts of man and beast, and natives in a stricken territory watch with feverish anxiety as the creatures fly overhead, praying that they will continue their flight without alighting to devour their crops and ruin their food supply.
They hit the tent like hailstones. Are the boys safe? Yes, I put them in the cab of the truck.
Like an enormous storm of black flakes, they cover the earth in a ravenous horde, eating every bit of grass in their path. Every animal leaves the stricken area, and hundreds die in their frantic efforts to shake off the pest. Clouds of countless billions literally hide the sun, and every modern resource of science has failed to combat them, for no one knows from whence they came or where they go. Hand of a higher power, the wildebeest know by instinct that the only way to escape disaster is by taking a course at right angles to the wind, because the locusts fly with the wind. It is estimated that there are about 60,000 locusts to the square yard, and a swarm such as this covers millions and millions of square yards. Unlike the Bible plague of old, the present plague is no respecter of race, creed, or country. The stampeding wildebeests raise clouds of giant hoppers, which have settled on the ground. The frantic animals must travel more than 50 miles through this insect storm before they can eat or drink again. In the evening, they continue to come down from the sky in millions, settling on every bit of green vegetation in the countryside. They break strong branches of trees by the sheer weight of their countless numbers, and the ground is covered with a blanket at least 6 inches deep. All through the night, they eat every blade of grass, every leaf of the trees, and in the morning, this beautiful country is transformed into a bleak and barren desert. To our knowledge, we are the first in the history of motion pictures to record and photograph this phenomenon of nature. And Moses said, "For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat of every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees. And there remained not any green thing, either tree or herb of the field, through all the land." With their crops and food supply ruined overnight, whole tribes of natives have been caught in a scourge like this, to die of starvation before they can get out of the devastated area. It was our good fortune that the truck contained sufficient food to carry us out of this ravaged country to our next supply station. After many days of travel in equatorial heat, we climbed to the summit of the Banaugi Mountains. Below is the Tanganyika Valley of Lions, and here among the tribe of Maasais, the most profound tragedy of the entire trip took place. And here in the shelter of a great rock, the Maasais build their manyatta, or thorn-enclosed village, which houses the old men, women, and children of this famous cattle-raising tribe. This manyatta is completely surrounded by an 8-foot wall of thorn bushes, with the cow-dung huts of the natives just inside the thorny circle. This peculiar construction is a protection against night-prowling lions. In the evening, the entrance gate is also plugged with the thorn bushes, and the cattle are herded into the center, where they are comparatively safe through the night of marauding lions in search of food. The whole assembly is only a temporary city, for when the grass is gone from the nearby fields, the entire tribe moves to a new location. A Maasai prizes his cattle rather more than his wives, and he has about the same number head of each. Both are traded in regularly, and the prices vary according to the supply and demand. The old chief told us the average price per maiden is 1 steer, 2 cows, and a keg of honey beer. Of course, second-hand wives are quoted at cut-rate prices. He said he was a good trader and trotted out his collection of female curios to prove it. It is the duty of the Maasai women to take good care of the calves as well as the children, and the chief apologized for those of his wives who were out helping the cows. The rest of them wouldn't come out. Some of the others were nursing calves, for this duty is just as important as the care of the children. Copper and iron wire form the principal adornments of the Maasai women, and their social standing is graded by the amount possessed. Some of the favorites can hardly lift their arms, because of the weight of the many metal rings for which the fond husband has traded his precious cattle. The cattle spend the night in the circle of thorns, and at daybreak they are turned loose to graze on the plain. No Maasai ever eats meat. They live entirely on an atrocious curd made from milk and blood, both of which are drawn from the cows. Even in times of starvation and drought, they die by hundreds rather than eat the meat of the cattle, which they persist in treating as ornaments. They are slightly smaller than our cattle, and each has a peculiar hump on the back like that of a camel. While his youngest son attended to the cattle, the kind old chief instructed his oldest boy, Kega, to show us around and help however he could in our purpose to secure close-up scenes of wild lions. Though thousands of lions are known to be in this grassy valley, they have learned to stay away from the cattle because a human being is always with them. Dotting the hillsides in the open, but close to the Maasai village, can be seen the huts of the Maasai El Moran or lion hunters, the most courageous and feared of all African warriors. They are the tribe policemen or protectors, and in these clusters of small huts they live like knights of old, being carried their food of milk and blood by maidens of the tribe, who also live with them in a state of free love. They are maintained for the sole purpose of hunting lions, which have become man-eaters or molesters of the